sudden the temperatures just like dropped down there. Hey, the music.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Look, I know you're new around
really
here,
sorry.
but try to keep up, will you? All right. Yes. So, some interesting items today here from the news. First, concerning the January the 6th riot, some people were just found. They were hiding in an unheated trailer in Nevada, in the wilderness out there. Somehow they found them. So it says they were found hiding with his the Capitol riot suspect was found hiding with his wife and kids in an unheated trailer deep in the Nevada mountains. The Reno news station KOLO reported. The U.S. attorneys with the Justice Department had charged Josiah, Josiah, Kenyon, 34, with unlawfully entering the Capitol and assaulting a police officer in the riots on the Friday. According to FBI, Kenyon assaulted several officers with a table leg with a protruding nail, Jesus, and threw a large hard plastic pylon at others. His whereabouts were unknown until December 1, when during a homelessness drive, deputies with the Washoe County Sheriff's Office found a woman and two kids living in an unheated trailer at the base of Peavine Peak near Lake Tahoe. The outlet did not specify the kids' age. So they found them, and a lot of these people, they go around, they were thinking, they were right to do what they did, but, all of a sudden they run and hide like they're criminals, and so, somewhere inside their head they know they did wrong, But they found an AR-15 and a Glock handgun in Kenyon's car, okay, which they obviously confiscated, thank God. On January 6th, he wore a red "Make America Great Again" cap, like that's and was dressed as Jack Skellington from the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay, so he tried to turn it into a Comic-Con while he was there. The FBI also said Kenyon helped smash an exterior window of the Capitol and then spent a total of 25 minutes inside the building. And what did he do? Nothing. Okay, he was in there, poking around probably in places he shouldn't have been poking around. But he broke and entered in there. Now he's got to face the music. The sooner these people face the music, the better easier it's going to be on them, okay? The longer they hide and try to elude the FBI, they could actually make the punishment worse on themselves by doing that, okay? Because FBI, police and FBI, they don't like that when you run from them. It's like making them run when they don't want to run. Like if you're pulled over or something and a cop wants to write you out a ticket and you get out of the car and you run, well, you just made it worse. Not only are you resisting getting the ticket or whatever like that, now you had to make the guy run with about 40 pounds of weight around his waist, okay? They don't like that when they have to run, okay? Because, look, these guys, they're munching on donuts and pastries and stuff. Their health gets deteriorated over time, and they can't run as fast as they used to when they were younger, okay? A lot of these guys. So they're going to come down harder on you if you run. So you're better off not running, especially if you got no place to go, if you can guarantee they'll never find you, okay? And in this day and age, the only way they're not going to find you is if you move your ass out of America and go someplace else, because that requires a lot more paperwork they have to do to find you. And, and if you're just a Capitol rioter, chances are they're not going to waste the time on you. But if you come back, they'll nail you. So, but, these people, they have to be shown to the public that, hey, we do have laws here in America, and it's because of those laws that we try to make a civilized society. And if you don't like a civilized society and you don't want these laws around, then apparently you don't want to live in America. Okay, there's all kinds of other countries in the world where you can go and basically live any way you want, because the governments there are so corrupt they just look the other way. Or there's places on Earth probably where there is no government, okay, and nobody would care what you did if you lived there. So, you know, I feel like that's pretty much where society wants to go these days, is they just want to be lawless and, you know, and just, you know, do whatever the hell they want, because they feel like, you know, freedom has to be absolutely free. That means you could free to go and kill whoever you want to kill, you know, just like in the movie The Purge, you know, and rape whoever you want to rape, you know, and rob people and, you know, anything. As long as you don't bring explosives, okay? That's a no-no, okay? No explosives. You don't want any property damage, you know. Okay, so this other person here, Duggar, Josh Duggar, he was on a I guess it was a reality show. I don't know. I don't watch these reality shows. I'm sorry. I don't get into that. It feels phony somehow. Josh Duggar was convicted of child porn possession today. Okay. His wife was kind of like a zombie after the fact. I suppose her life is like completely destroyed after this. I don't know how much she knew about it, but I guess from all accounts of her reactions, it didn't sound like she really knew much of what he was doing, you know, behind her back. You know, when it comes to a computer, I hate to say this, but if you're married to, you know, a guy and he's on the computer at night and you're not around, chances are he's going to sites that you probably would get pissed at, okay? Even if he says he's not, always assume that he is, okay? It doesn't matter what age they are, okay? There's always going to be, you know, this curiosity to go and delve into these, whatever they like to look at, okay? For some people, I guess child pornography gets them off. I don't know what the hell, you know, why that is. Jesus, I mean, you know, how the hell does somebody get into that? I don't know. But even if you're not into that, even if you know, there's still other sites, okay, that cater to a lot of things, and they're going to look, okay? And my suggestion is if they want to look, then they have to agree that they can let you look at the stuff if you want. You know what I'm saying? You know, just like so you could find out, you know what kind of husband you got there. You know, you know what I'm saying? So if it's okay for him to look at this stuff, okay, then he has to reciprocate and say, well, okay, if you're going to use the computer, you can look at it at whatever you like to on here, and we'll just we won't get mad at each other about it if you can live with that. Okay, that's a if you can live with it kind of situation. Because look, you're never going to stop people from looking. Okay, you can't even stop your kids from looking, for Christ's sake. I mean, they got 18,000 ways from Sunday to be able to get online and look at pornography, and you wouldn't even know it. They can even do it on their phones, for that matter. And so what if you can track where they've been? They know how to erase that. And there is no safety guard that's safe enough to protect your kids from looking at this stuff, okay? It's very simple. The browsers make it very easy to accidentally end up on one of these sites, okay? Just by typing in a word in a search engine that brings up every living damn thing that has to do with it, including all the pornography that goes along with it. I mean, Jesus. You know, I'm sorry, but you know, the internet just can't wait to feed you with all this stuff. I mean, that's just, it's set that way. It's like the people who designed the internet, you know, were perverts who basically wanted people to stumble onto that stuff just for, you know, because they can, you know. The thing is that, you know, for some people, they can look at it and it doesn't do anything to them, okay? They can live with what they saw all day or all the rest of their life, and they won't even act on anything like that, okay? For others, they look at the stuff, and for some reason, it it warps their brain somehow. Okay, it does. I don't know why it does to some people and not everybody. But some people just can't stand looking at that stuff. It changes their behavior. It makes them crazy, and all of a sudden they start doing crazy shit, and then before you know it, they're constantly doing stuff, in secret, in sheds and in the basements, and you know what I'm saying. And a lot of serial killers over the years have said that looking at pornography magazines is what influenced them to do that. I don't know if that's 100% true. There could have been a whole other factors involved with that. Maybe abuse at home mixed with the pornography. Who knows? Who friggin' knows what the mixture is? But the thing of it is that I think when people try to make, especially adult to adult, try to make stuff so taboo that they feel guilty doing it, it adds to the impact of doing it. Okay, then it's like it actually kind of motivates them to keep doing it, because of the high they kind of get, like, oh, I'm doing something and my wife doesn't know it, kind of thing going on, so it adds to the thing, even though they know they're not supposed to do it. But how many times do people do things they're not supposed to do? Okay, I mean, it happens every freaking day, people. We got rules everywhere, how to guide our lives, but people break them all the friggin' time. So when it comes to a husband and wife thing, there's got to be an understanding, especially now. Unfortunately, that discussion has to be made now when people are married, about the internet, using the internet. And you can't be embarrassed about bringing these things up, about if you want to look at porn and stuff like that. How do you feel about it? Okay, unfortunately, that's what the discussion that has to be made today, because a lot of people are doing this and they don't discuss it beforehand. Okay, it's the same thing if you have a weakness for prostitutes and stuff like that. You're better to get it out to your wife before she finds out you're into it. At least then you still have your respectability of being honest. Okay, that you had the strength enough to admit it to her, and then just see if she's willing to help you with this, and maybe the two of you together can do something about it, so that way the situation can be resolved. I don't know, but a lot of people, they have strange personal lives, and we have to take into account all the stuff around us that tempts us to do these things and think at certain ways. Okay, you can't just ignore it. Okay, ignoring a problem doesn't make it go away. It makes it worse, I think, in the long run. So honesty really is the best policy in a relationship when it comes to being confronted with these day-to-day things we see online and public and outdoors, whatever, inside, in the attic, in the basement, whatever. Okay, it's more important now than ever, because there's so many things out there that can destroy relationships now. So many things. It can even make misunderstandings happen. Okay, so many things. Now, I'm not trying to excuse what Duggar here did. Okay, he had child pornography. It's against the law. The law has to act on that. Okay, and I agree with that. That's wrong. That's creepy shit. Okay, but he's facing 20 years in prison, and I feel bad for his wife. I mean, if she wasn't involved in it, I can't imagine how learning about this, and then with the possibility of never seeing him again, probably for the rest of his life or her life, how that's the kind of thing we've got to try to avoid in relationships, is setting each other up. Women have to be honest with guys have to be honest with the women. It has to be equal. I mean, 50-50 says so much. Okay, there can't be one dominating the other. Okay, a tree overshadows another tree, and then that little tree will wither and die. I mean, that's just how it is. Okay, so you have to be willing to fess up. Look at that Chris guy. What's his name there? Chris, the one there that killed his wife and his kids too at the same time. That was just recent here. Can't think of his friggin' name. My brain, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, so look at this guy. He had a whole bunch of friggin' demons that he was keeping from his wife, wouldn't talk to her about, because he didn't know how to talk to her. Okay, but apparently the two of them needed to sit down with a marriage counselor and air that shit out. before it got to that point. He was running around on her. A lot of guys do that, but he made it felt he acted like it was such a bad thing that he'd be killed if it ever got out. You know, he might have got a few beatings and stuff, but he wouldn't have been killed. Okay. All he had to do was, if he wasn't happy, just say, oh, I want a divorce or something, and work it out from there. I mean, God almighty, that's what most people do. But this guy, obviously there was a lot more going on there than just him running around on this woman, on his wife rather, excuse me, running around on his wife, you know, to go and kill his kids too, you know. So, like I said, you keep something inside long enough and it's just going to eat you alive. And that's what Duggar here has just found out, and he's going to have to pay the price. Doesn't matter, you know, that he was a reality TV star or whatever, because everybody is everybody. Everyone has a cross to bear or a problem they got to carry around in life. Anyway, here's some good news. From the Washington Post, it says the U.S. workers are about to see their biggest pay increase in more than a decade. Ooh, you can imagine what that'll be, huh? Americans are in line for their biggest wage increase in more than a decade, according to a report released Wednesday, as companies struggle against a tight labor market and high inflation. Businesses are expected to bump up pay an average of 3.9% in 2022, according to the Conference Board report. That's the fastest wage growth since 2008. Higher pay for new hires was the most commonly cited reason for the uptick, according to the nonprofit business group. Suggested labor shortages and high turnover across industries could be giving employees more leverage. Inflation, which is higher than it has been in 30 years, was the second most commonly cited factor. The Conference Board survey asks human resources executives about their compensation plans for the coming year. Their plans can change, but the surveys nonetheless hint at where wages might be going. The projections come as overall wage growth dramatically accelerated during the past 6 to 8 months. The report says wage increases are most substantial among those younger than 25 and those who recently changed jobs. The increased willingness of many people to leave jobs for greener pastures may be persuading companies they need to pay more, the group said. No shit. You know, I kind of said that in, you know, a few videos ago here, that right now the workers have the leverage over companies. They can write their own ticket because they're getting help from the government. You know, if they got families, especially, you know, they got kids. For the kids, they get money coming in every month to help the families get through. And it's coincidental, I guess, huh, that over the last 5 or 6 months, prices have gone up because they know people can afford the higher prices, and they're going to tap whatever money they're getting from the government so they can, you know, fatten their wallets. That's why things are so high. It's why gas is so high and all that, because they know more people are able to pay it now thanks to the government. Okay, and so we need to have higher wages now if this is what they want to do. But, you know, there's always this fallout from raising wages, and that means higher prices, okay, on things. Again, that's the only thing about that. We never cap prices on nothing in this country, and they should. You know, the government really needs to cap prices on a lot of things, so they don't go up any higher, so that way the wage increases mean something at the end of the day. If you're going to pay people $50 an hour and it costs $3.50 for a can of Pepsi, you know, or something, or even more, you know, then that wage increase ain't going to seem like a whole lot at the end of the day, right? And then, you know, of course, there's this other part where there's, you know, delivery problems and stuff, but I guess the government's cracking down on that, issuing fines for companies that are not moving quick enough to get stuff out, okay? So maybe that'll get them to, you know, speed up delivery of goods around the country. Who knows? But, you know, wages have been steadily going up this year, up to about 5 or 6%, okay? Because individual companies are trying to get workers back by offering them more money. But I think a lot of people would probably rather have the health benefits if they could get it from the companies. But I don't think they offer health benefits to part-time workers. I might be wrong about that, but I don't think they do. And that's why a lot of people today have part-time jobs instead of full-time jobs. So I think a lot of people would feel happy if the companies they work for would offer something, like that for their families, for the kids and stuff. I mean, people are going around. There's still people in this country who don't have any health insurance at all, okay, or anything that means anything. I mean, it's a sad reality, but there's people can get sick and then lose everything because they can't pay a bill. I don't know what you do with that in that situation, but people really need to have more money because we can't survive in America on peanuts. America is an expensive place to live, especially in the cities. Every foreigner I've ever talked to on the phone said that. Jesus, they say it's a very expensive holiday to take going to the United States, and they're right. Okay, and another trial thingy here that's just happened. It says a jury has reached a verdict in the trial of actor Josie Smollett. Okay, I don't even know who that is, but this just popped up on my Yahoo thing here. Okay. Okay, yeah. The Senate today was doing their thing with Facebook, and they found out that Zuckerberg had spent millions to buy the presidency for Biden. But they can't find enough evidence to back up what they said there. But anyway, here's the article. It's from Yahoo News, written by John Ward. Two high-profile Republican candidates for the U.S. Senate, both of them close to tech entrepreneur Peter Thiel, are supporting an effort to merge former President Donald Trump's lies about a stolen 2020 election with accusations of meddling against Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. In Arizona, Senate candidate Blake Masters said voters should elect people who will tell you the truth. Masters has made a falsehood part of his candidacy. I think Trump won in 2020, he said in a recent video. So Masters and Vance have jettisoned the wild and debunked allegations of outright fraud and moved on to a new conspiracy theory that Zuckerberg spent hundreds of millions to buy the presidency for Biden. It's an allegation that has shown some purchase among the GOP's pro-Trump grassroots. The Republican Party, which has historically been amenable to the interests of big business, is still in the throes of the former president's trademark populism. And Trump still insists that the 2020 election was illegitimate, leading even his more sober-minded supporters to try and justify that through thoroughly debunked idea. So, the internet is always going to be, now, these days, a big place for people to promote candidates now. So, yeah, they found that they donated money to this campaign, which a lot of companies do. But I think, the issue here that's on people's minds with Facebook and Instagram is the fact that they have this algorithm that's supposed to filter out things they don't want on their web pages, right? Because whatever, if they don't want you to, if they don't want to see stuff on their web page about talking about blowing things up or something like that, then they put an algorithm there that'll stop that from appearing. Okay. And Congress wanted to take a look at that algorithm because they, like I said, they've been kind of debating back and forth and, arguing with Zuckerberg about his lack of responsibility in what he's been presenting to the public out there, and allowing what bad things to get through without really thinking about what they could be doing to the population. It's like Instagram being so, body, attacks the body, I guess, whatever you want to call it. women, they find that site hard to deal with because they look at the women that are on there and they want to look like them, and instead it's like body shaming. If you don't look like this, you can't be on Instagram. And yet Zuckerberg and the people that run the site don't really think there's anything wrong with people putting pictures of themselves up like that. But kids, they look at everything and they take it personal. Everything is personal with teenagers, young teenagers. And girls are always comparing themselves to other girls. I don't know why. But I guess that's just the way it is for women. I mean, maybe some guys do that with other guys, but I know I didn't. I didn't give a shit about how a guy looked, I just, it seems to me like Zuckerberg and them, they don't seem to have much social intelligence. They're not like really aware of how people are. It's probably because they spent so much time in their closets when they were growing up. They don't understand how society works. So they design an algorithm that's obviously going to be flawed because it's based on what they think is right and wrong, right? So when the government asks, can I look at your algorithm to see how that's working? They say no. They don't want you to look at it. And if they're saying that and they don't want Congress to look at it, or whatever, then clearly they know something's not right with it, okay? Because they wouldn't be sitting in there answering questions from politicians if they didn't think that what they were doing was right, okay? So they know there's something wrong, and they don't want to be liable for anything. So they're trying to protect their algorithm from getting into the hands of the government, okay? Which means now we can't even trust Facebook or Instagram. We can't trust them to do the right thing. They say they want to do the right thing, okay? They promise they're going to do the right thing, but why should we trust them now? That's the thing. We can't really trust them. So, if you're a parent and you got young kids or something like that, it would be smart either not let the kids onto those sites at all, okay, if you can do it. I don't know how the hell someone can do it, but if you can keep them away from Facebook and Instagram, then you should do it. Or demand that you, if they have an account there, that you get to see it and you want to see what's been posted, that you should look through it, okay? And if the kids have a problem with that, then they shouldn't have a computer, You shouldn't even give them a cell phone with internet access, if you can even find one today that doesn't. It's a difficult world to live in when you got kids online. It really is. I'm old school thinker, and I have no ideas, except the only idea that I can come up with, other people would say that's you're invading their privacy and you're taking away the trust. I mean, what else can we do? Remember when Archie Bunker there, the guy that used to, Carol O'Connor rather, when he lost his son to drugs and he got on TV and he made he begged the people in America to, if you have to go into your kids' bedrooms and their drawers and their closets to look for this stuff, then do it. Basically, he found out the hard way that, you can't give blanket freedoms to your kids who don't understand the freedoms of what that means, okay? If they don't have the responsibility or the strength of will to keep themselves from doing bad, then you can't just give them free reign. You can't let them have all the freedoms that you have as an adult. They don't know how to use that, okay? And if they scream at you and they say you're being, a Nazi or whatever the hell they want to call you, then you're just going to have to take it. And hopefully they learn, that this is for their own good. And maybe when they get older and they have their own kids, then they'll understand why you had to do what you did, okay? But unfortunately, this is the way raising a kid is going to have to be in America because of the internet. It really is. It's a sad reality, but we demanded the internet being able to do all these things, and now that it does, we regret it. Now we've screwed ourselves in the butt with this thing that really wasn't. We shouldn't have had at the time it was created and put in the public. We weren't ready for that as a society to have this internet here. Because, like somebody once said, everything that man makes, they find some evil deed that they can do with it. and a lot of times evil deeds is what creates inventions that people end up using today. Like the things where you can hear people from 10 miles away and stuff. Some pervert come up with that idea first before that actually becomes something that law enforcement uses. Think about it. All right, let's have a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Dear CEO, what's it gonna take for you to do something? Yeah, do you even care?
Climate change affects all of us.
This is your chance to do something good.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby.
This holiday season, serve the very best at any gathering. Serve delicious chicken tenders from Burger King.
Ain't nothing like the real thing.
Chicken tenders are all white meat breast fillets, not formed bits and pieces of chicken like McNuggets. Plus, they're cooked in 100% vegetable oil. So pick up chicken tenders from Burger King. This holiday, how could you serve anything less than the best?
Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby.
Clear, crisp, and bright. 7-Up has the feeling of Christmas.
Looks like Santa needs help.
Now you're going to tell me Santa Claus could use an IBM computer.
He probably could.
I knew we'd get around to this.
Can keep track of who wants what, who's been nice and naughty. You'd be in trouble. And knowing IBM, he'd get great service even at the North Pole. Santa could use an IBM computer. Sure could. Sure could.
Maybe he could. Last year, he forgot to get me what I asked for.
They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. I'm making my list, Jeffrey.
And everything on it's at Toys R Us. Only $9.97 for NASA's Smurf AN radio and headset.
Wow.
From Luco, the Jackson's Thriller and Victory discs, $8.97 each with Michael's picture right on them. And only $18.97 for Roth American's Raggedy Ann toy card. We've got enough toys to fill it up.
4 games, 4 toys. Oh, boy. I want to be a bud.
Eliminates odors. Oh, a stank face.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Okay. We was talking about the internet before we went to break, and to further that discussion here, the Surgeon General issued a warning that you can read online, and it says youth mental health is suffering in America due to many factors, including social media. Okay, so let me see. It's a website, www.hhs.gov. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. It's PDF, actually, is what it is. I'm going to paste it here on this video. Let's see, okay. And that way, when I'm done, I can put that up there for you guys so you can read it, because it's pretty lengthy. And people should read it, okay? I'm not saying just to ignore it, but in the table of contents, I'll read some of that. It says what young people can do, what family members and caregivers can do, what educators, staffs, school districts can do, what healthcare organizations and health professionals can do. A lot of can-dos here. And it's over 40 pages long. But you know, I think what it is it's scared people in the government as to how bad things are getting in America with our kids, mostly because, you know, we're seeing that our kids are a lot of school shootings this year. Okay, I can't even remember now how many. It's an extraordinary number of school shootings. We haven't even heard all of the shootings. There's so many of them. The media can't even keep up with it. Okay. And then of course, you got this thing here about the Facebook and Instagram thing, and so the government is finding out a lot of things here about why our kids are just basically flushing themselves down the toilet here in America, and now it's created a need for the Surgeon General to get involved here and talk to the public, and they're trying to tell people what they can do here, because they don't want parents to feel like they're helpless, like they've got nothing, no place to reach to. In fact, there are places they can reach out to if they need to, and they shouldn't be ashamed of reaching out, because they're not alone. Okay, there's a lot of people out there right now with teenagers and young kids that are being manipulated by the internet, being manipulated by the news. Okay, what they see on the news. Being manipulated by other kids in school, and I think for a lot of kids that have problems interacting with each other, you know, this is a problem that's going to escalate, especially if you keep them home from school a long time where they're not being around other kids. You see, there's a certain developmental process when you have kids in school together. Okay, whether it's good or bad. I mean, some people would argue the case that it actually makes things worse because kids fight all the time. But if the adult isn't there to guide the process of disagreements to a peaceful solution, the kids never learn. Okay, so that it's a two-way street. I mean, yeah, it can be a bad place, but if the teachers aren't there to basically guide these kids through a conflict to a resolution that they can live with, then what do the kids learn? They don't. I mean, they just beat each other to a pulp until the parents get involved and start threatening the principal. I mean, that's not how you deal with things, okay? So, you know, things are bad in America where the kids are really feeling the brunt here of a lot of different things. They're, you know, and I personally, I say that this is a problem that's been long overlooked here in America, okay? Long overlooked. Because, you know, school shootings have been going on, you know, a long time, you know, even from before the beginning of the internet. I mean, but not as often. But with the internet being around, it's certainly created the opportunity for people to be violent with each other, even for adults. Okay, we've got crimes that were committed adult to adult through the internet, so it's a medium now that needs regulation, it needs oversight, and it needs parental guidance for their kids, because they have to watch what they're doing, where they're going. I just got done telling you how easy it is for kids to access, you know, pornography online. I mean, it's there, and I mean, they practically begging you to click on this and click on that, you know. Crap, they even create viruses just to direct your damn browser to it, you know, when you're not going there enough. And that's why the government needs to get into this thing, and they need to start, you know, kicking this shit out. I know a lot of people hate the idea of the government getting involved in this, but what else can we do? If you're going to ask civilians to get online and sort out and try to find pedophiles, isn't that the same thing as the government getting in there and trying to seek these people out too? So if you're going to do that, if you're going to take the steps to do that, then you might as well go all the way, folks, and just say, look, that's it. Okay, you guys, we let you do this for 25, 30 years, okay? You fucked it all up. The internet is trash. It's garbage now. Okay, so now we're coming in and we're going to clean this thing out and turn this internet back to what it was originally intended to be, which is just people to gather information, okay, like a library source. Okay, you're not going to go on there and play around with each other and do all this crap and fight and argue and create problems. You know, that's all going to come to a stop. All right? I mean, and if companies like Facebook, Twitter, and all them don't like it, then kick their asses out. Okay, say, well, there's only going to be one internet, and that's going to be a government-run internet, and the rest of you people can eat shit. You know, 'cause America can't survive by destroying the minds of our youth. I mean, they're the country's future. You know, you damage their minds, you're destroying the nation's future, for God's sake. Think about it. You know, what kind of society are they going to create after they've been wrecked by our society today? Jesus, it's only going to make things worse. So if the government doesn't step in now and drop the hammer on these damn places, then guess what's going to happen? You know, you're setting the country up for the kind of future, dystopian future that everybody fears is going to happen one day. Okay, it's like, what was it, The Handmaid's Tale? You know, you're gonna create that scenario, and it's going to be like, you know, yesterday's news when you watch the movie. You know, that's what you're doing. That's what you're friggin' doing. You know, so people really think about it. What's worse, letting your kids be confronted by body shaming and internal arguments and fights that might lead to murder, suicide? You know, or a government-regulated internet that will at least shelter them from those things and turn the internet into something useful that they can use while they're in school instead of something abusive that distracts them from their learning, okay? I mean, it's up to you. You know, but think long-term. You've got to think long-term on these issues. You just don't look for instant solutions. You've got to think about how this is going to play out 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now. You know, how is that going to turn our society? Because we don't have the luxury of ignoring the future anymore. We really don't. You know, it's more important for us now to always think about the future when we talk about government than ever, okay? We don't look much in the past anymore. We seem to be ignoring the past because for some reason the past makes people uncomfortable, okay? And they don't want to look at the past. But that's an unfortunate thing because without looking back, we'll never know how we can do things better looking forward. So we have to be strong enough to admit to our failures, but wise enough to learn from them and say we know what we can do better in the coming years ahead. And so why don't we just take the time and learn from the past and stop fighting with it and wrestling with it and whatever, you know, and trying to ignore it, okay? And actually looking at the past through a lens of a student listening to a teacher. Okay, the past is our teacher. Let's listen to what the teacher has to say. And that way, when we look ahead and we see the problems ahead of us, we're going to be stronger. We're going to have better ideas, you know, and we're going to have the will to do what's right. There's nothing wrong with having the will to do what's right, even if you think the solutions might be draconian, okay? It might feel that way at first, but once you implement them, it's always up to us at the end of the day how we live and breathe through those times, okay? We can be draconian on ourselves, you know, by trying to change things. People often do when they go on diets, for Christ's sake. I mean, they beat their bodies into the ground until they're at the weight they want, but once they get there, they're all smiles. You know, sometimes that's the way it's got to be. You got to go through the mud before you get to the, you know, to the beach. So, I think that's something we got to consider. Okay, is how far do we want to take this? How far are we going to ignore this problem of our kids being beaten mentally here by all kinds of things in our world today? And are you as a parent going to just do nothing for your kids, or are you going to actually try and do something here according to what this Surgeon General here is trying to teach you to do? And you know what I'm saying? For your kids. For your kids to say, isn't that what we all live for, is to create a generation you know, to leave a legacy behind, and our legacy is our kids. Isn't that what we're all supposed to be doing? I mean, even the most religious people in America know that having children is part of their religion. You know, so if that's true, then that means you got to take responsibility for how your child is going to develop and become a contributing member of society in a healthy way. Okay, so that responsibility, although it's often taken lightly by so many people, is really a big responsibility, and we can't ignore how the minute we send our kids out into the world, how they're going to come back that night, and what they've seen and what they've heard, how that's impacting their brain as it develops into adulthood. That's why it's important for your parents every single night to sit down with their kids and say, tell me about your day. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you experience? Okay, you got to do that. You have to. It's like a diary. I mean, for your kids, you've got to read their diary. That means tell me the story. What happened today? Doesn't matter what your story is. Okay, you can always tell your wife or your husband what your story is, because the kids ain't going to care less about what you did at work. Okay, but listen to them first. Listen to them first at the dinner table or wherever. Talk. You know, let the kids know that you're interested in what happens to them. You know, but don't be authoritarian about it. Don't discipline them while they're talking. You know, listen to them. Try to put yourself in their position. You know, at that age, if you can still remember, you know, what it was like to be, you know, a teenager. You know, I guess a lot of us probably don't, but I can certainly remember what it was like then. But I think that, you know, that benefit of discussion between family members is something that's been lost in this country. And I think when people don't talk at the dinner table and they just eat, and then one gets up, goes up to their room, gets on the computer, the other one is on the cell phone while they're eating, that's not good. That's a sign. That's a bad sign right there. Even if the adults are doing it, if you're the father sitting there and you're on the phone, put that fucking thing away, will you? Okay? I don't give a shit if it's work related. You know, show some respect for your family, that they take precedence over any damn thing you're doing. Okay? And the same thing for the wife. Okay? You can talk to whoever you're talking to at any other time. Okay? You have all day to talk to them. They can wait. Listen to your kids. You know? Listen to each other. Put that damn thing, just shut the phone off, okay? The world can still spin without you being on the phone for 30 minutes, okay? There's no point in having people invade your privacy if it means so much to you every 2 seconds when you get the phone on the table. I mean, I've seen that happen all the time. I mean, that's how a lot of relationships break up these days, is because either one or both partners spend more time on their cell phone than they do talking to each other. I see it all the time in the fucking restaurants. I can't tell you how annoying that is. You know, you can't even tell. Are these people brother or sister, or are they dating, or what the hell's going on here? You know, how many people in a restaurant sitting there on their phones, beep, 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 you know? It's like, well, why don't you date the son of a bitch you're talking to on the phone, because they seem to be more interested than the guy or the woman you're with. Christ. You know, you spend all your time there. So it's why are you hiding from each other? What the hell is so bad you don't want to talk to each other for? You know, shut that thing off. Jesus, show some respect. You know, people need to put that damn thing away. Nobody needs to be connected online 24/7. That's wrong. Anyone that tells you that, they're wrong. They're fucking wrong. Okay, there's nothing in this world that's so important that you have to be on call 24/7 to bullshit. Most of the time, the conversations are about nothing. It's just, oh, guess who farted today while they were at school? You know, that's what you hear. I mean, that's the kind of... I hear these people when they're on the phone talking to other people. Okay? What are they talking about? Nothing. You know? They saw each other an hour before, and now they're on the cell phone. Yep, you know, for an hour. Christ. You know? Jesus. So the internet plays too damn much of a role in our lives, and that has to come to a fucking end. Jesus. That's why I say our society wasn't ready for the internet when it came out. It really wasn't. You know, it was a nice idea on paper, okay? But in actual practice, we saw what this has led us to. And I think a lot of people back then could have predicted this was going to happen if they understood human nature. I know I could have. Okay? I know I could have predicted that. But at the time, nobody knew how far this was going to go. You know, that we was actually setting up the entire world into a subculture of internet users. Nobody realized how far this was going to take us. Okay, they figured that people would be smart and limit themselves on what they were going to do on there, but no. People's worst nature always comes out with something good that's ever created. Can always depend on humanity to fail you at everything. Okay, you know, think about all the inventions and stuff that's been created here that we all thought were marvels, and look what we do with the stuff now. Okay, we find ways to beat ourselves down with unethical things using the stuff we invent. You know, it's amazing, and it doesn't quit. You know, you could almost see the tug of war between evil and good in everything that we do. Okay, and too often people just give into the evil and justify it by saying, well, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Well, that's only saying that humanity is nothing more than animals, that we don't have the intelligence greater than an animal or a dog or a cat or something like that to think ourselves out of situations when people talk like that. And of course we know that's bull crap. Okay, we know that's bull crap, but we try to find ways to, you know, forgive ourselves for being evil by making up statements like that. Oh, it's a dog-eat-dog world. You know, they're doing it, so why can't I? That's what they call the devil talking through you right there. That's how the devil justifies you to do these things, saying don't fight it, crap. They're all doing the same thing. Go. You know, do it. You know, that's how they do that, and it's so easy for people to give into that, because for a lot of people they don't have a moral core. You know, they've left that out of their lives. You know, for the most part, they don't have any ethics, so they have no angel on the other side, basically, to talk reason into them, you know, for whatever that might be. Because you find, you know, people who have both good and evil riding on their shoulders, they can avoid certain things in life if they have faith that the good will always be the best way for them. Okay, it's not that they have to have faith in a deity to get them through it. They have to have faith in themselves that they have the strength to listen to the goodness of them, to do it. They have to compliment themselves when they do something good and learn from it and say, you know, this feels better than doing something wrong and getting away with it. I like doing good things and knowing that I don't have to be ashamed of what I did, that I can, you know, show this to people. You know, when you do something bad and you get away with it, well, who do you want to really tell? It's not going to yak and spill the beans on you, you know? So, you know, doing good is always the best thing, all right? And I'm not saying that I always do good all the time. Sure, I've made my mistakes, okay? And I got punished for a lot of things that I did wrong, and it was rightly so, okay? Sometimes, you know, when you lose your cool and you do stuff because you're mad and you're acting on emotion, it always leads you down the wrong path, you know? And sure, that happens, you know, to all of us. But at the same time, we're not in the situation where we feel like we're pressured into doing something wrong, you know, or we're given a choice, and the choice is, you know, either do something good or do something bad. We should always try to ignore the bad, even if there's a pot of gold at the end of that tunnel, okay? Or, you know, do something good, and maybe the pot of gold will come later after you do something good, you know? Because, you know, it's what they say, good things, what goes around comes around. You do something good, it comes back around after you. You know what I'm saying? It always does. If you do something bad, it always comes back at you. You know, it may take years, but it'll come back. You know, life has a friggin' weird way of bringing back your past issues. And you're like, you know, where did this come from? You know, I thought I dealt with that years ago, and all of a sudden here it is again. You know, you know, it's a weird thing. It's like my mother always told me to be careful of circles in your life. You know, because those issues where you're confronting something that happened in your past could be the times where this is going to either kill you or you're going to learn from it and it puts you on another path, you know, because sometimes people will deal with something that they didn't deal with before, and it might cause a bigger problem that might destroy their life, you know. So those are what they call life lessons, basically. And those are like the circles in our life where we are always confronted again by something that happened years and years and years ago. Even if you were just a kid, you know, you see something that happened and you remember it happened before and how you dealt with it before and how it wasn't good the last time you did it. And now you have that choice again. Did you learn from that the last time around? You're being tested, you know. Can you do better this time around? You know, are you wiser now? Can you do this thing better? And this happens to all of us, even the kids that we have. And, you know, and until we die, our whole life is filled with circles where we're confronted with things. I know I've had my share of these damn circles in my life many times as I've grown up. And I'll tell you, it's surprising every time it does, because it makes you think, like, you know, maybe there is something out there that keeps altering your future, keeps altering the path before you to do this. Some people say, well, it's a small world, everything happens, you know. It's like, well, yeah, you could say that, you know, a small world, but, you know, what are the odds, especially if you move from one place to another and it's a whole different environment, and yet something still happened, and it, you know, I don't think it matters where you are in the world. I think it's just there's certain things that happen in life that you know, we get later on, we'll be reconfronted with later. You know, it just happens. I don't know why it does. It just does. But I think, like I said, with this Surgeon General's advisory here, you all should just take and read it here. I mean, not, you know, if not all at once, you can read just parts you think that applies to you. If you're going through a certain problem, and if you need quick answers, just go down the table of contents and just look at what things are there. I named off some of them, okay? And just see, you know, if there's something there that might help you, because there is a lot out there. It's just a lot of these things, they don't advertise on television, okay? They don't do that. So you have to look for them, okay? They don't just have access to the TV all the time to be able to advertise, well, we can do this for you or that. So you have to go to these websites and find help there. And believe me, the internet has a plethora of friggin' things, you know. We bitch about the internet, but at the same time, there's also good stuff online. And too bad that that's always overshadowed by the bad shit. But there is a ton of places a person can go, especially locally, if you're looking for help for something, and you need it fast, or you need something you need to discuss with somebody, just to lay out what your situation is and what your answers can be to it, and they can say, well, you could do this, 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 or this, and for each suggestion, they probably got a pamphlet or something where you got a phone number you can call, or you can talk to somebody. And, you know, they can help you. But the sooner you get that process started, the better it's going to be for you and your family, okay? Instead of just waiting until something bad happens and then looking for help, because then it's too late, right? So that's why I say you have to talk to your kids every day. And let them just tell you in their own words, in their own way. You know, don't let them go, nothing. Don't accept that as an answer. Just say, well, I sent you to school and all you did was nothing. You know, what the hell am I paying my taxes for? Tell me what the hell went on there today. You know, you know, just, you know, corner them and say, look, I just want to know what you've been doing. Jesus, I mean, you know, I don't see you all day, and I you know, I worry about you and I think about you, and you know, it's like, well, just let me know. Did you make any friends, you know, or something? You know, just tell them, ask them questions. You know, say, look, are you at this point now in history, or are you studying this in math yet, or who's your teacher, and you know, what's he like, or what's she like, or you know, just be inquisitive, you know, and say, you know, or ask, you know, any kids goof off today? Did somebody do any damage or something? You know, you know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes if you ask kids dumb questions, you'll probably get more of an answer. If the questions are dumb and they're funny, that they'll answer, and then you just share something of yourself that you did when you was stupid and funny, you know, and maybe that'll encourage them to be more upfront about what they were doing that was stupid and dumb. You know what I'm saying? You sometimes you have to be like that, an investigator. Okay. Just try to think on their level, I guess. You know, for a few minutes, you can drop the act of being an authority figure and just try to come down to their level and talk to them, you know. And through that, you're going to learn some things that they probably wouldn't have volunteered any other way, you know. So anyway, I will put this up on the video here below for you to click on. You might have to scroll it down a little bit so you can see it, because sometimes if I try to squeeze a link, a hyperlink, it won't show right at the opening scene. You have to go to the side and scroll the page down a little bit, and there it will be right there. So, you know, it's just how it works. So I'll do that, and I'll call this a day, and I hope everybody has a great upcoming weekend. So please take care of yourselves, and you know, against COVID, you already know how to do this stuff. I've said it lots of times before, and maybe next time we'll have some more good news instead of the pay wage increase. So I'll see you guys later. So take care, everybody.